I'm Andy, he's Dwain, and this is the Queueline Conversation. We're taking a little break from the Queueline, but we're going to have a really good topic. Today, we're going to talk about VR on roller coasters. Good idea or bad idea?
I kind of like the idea. Something new, something fresh. Everybody talks about wanting to have a new style coaster. Well, how about instead of changing the coaster around, just build a generic coaster and then have VR to where you can actually have a different experience every time. I think, if you could have different ones each time, like for example down at Busch Gardens where you go into the building and you have 3 different things that could happen on Bolton. Think about how many options you could have, or maybe even get to choose your option as you go into this. So I think the idea is there now. Will it really take on hold here? That's a good question. I think it's going to take a park to actually go out. What's the cost going to be like? That's my big question, because I don't know what all would go into it.
Well, a lot of people are coming out against it, saying it's a bad idea, that it can't be done. Well, Europa Park did it on Blue Fire, and Blue Fire is that type of ride that is really intense, really fast. So if you can do it on Blue Fire, I think you can almost do it on any roller coaster. And
what do you think about in regards to, are they going to build a new coaster, or do you think it's just something they're going to add to current coasters to change it?
I think it's going to be something they add to a current coaster, because it makes sense. It's a way to refresh that ride like you were talking about. You look at some of these coasters and you look at something like Iron Dragon, and people like it, people still ride it, but it doesn't have that super huge ridership that you think it should, that enthusiasts aren't riding it, teenagers aren't riding it. It's more of that kiddie ride, that family ride. And if you put on this VR theme onto it, it's kind of like, well, now it's a whole new experience. Now it might be more fun for those people. It might actually entice them to go ride it. So I think it's a really good idea from that perspective. I could just see them like having a dragon on there, blowing fire at you as you whip around the dragon. It just seems like something that makes a lot of sense.
Well, as we advance in technology, you would think that this stuff is going to happen anyway, and it's something that you would want. I think it would keep the cost down. Yeah, you've got to pay for the VR system, but think about it, if you can just do that on all the coasters and make it a new experience. But then what my biggest thing is, are people going to count it as new credits each time that they ride it, because it's got a different experience? But
you kind of look at what they are, where they're going to, and it's that more interactive thing that we've seen it done at Wonder Mountain, we've seen it done with Journey to the Iron Reef at Knott's, that they're going to that interactive experience, that otherworldly experience. So I think this is just another extension of that it's just another way for them to refresh a ride. Now, I think another question is are they going to make you do it on the coaster? So is everyone who gets on the ride going to have to do it? Is it an upcharge attraction that they do it on a few things? For it to work, I almost think that they have to make everyone do it. Where, you see, if you look at the stuff from Oculus Rift, and you look at Europa, because they do it, they're still testing it on coasters out there, not on Blue Fire anymore, but on smaller coasters. You just look at it and you see, they make everyone do it, because I think for it to work properly, you can't just do it as an upcharge. Everyone has to do it, and maybe that's where people come out against it.
I don't think it would be successful if it was just an upcharge. I don't think enough people would see the benefit of doing that, especially depending on the price tag. You see all the upcharges even today. Some of the rides like the sky coasters and things, that they're really starting to put the price down, I think, on it, and I think that you can see that people just aren't doing the upcharge things.
Well, and it's funny that we're talking about upcharges as we're walking through here. It's just I don't know. I think it has to be done on the right coaster. I don't think you can just put it on on your Fury 325s or something like that. Those rides might be a little too intense. And I know they tested it on Blue Fire, but I think it's going to work best on a smaller ride, on a ride that might be declining in ridership. This is a way to get them to renew that ride, to refresh that ride, to get more people riding again. because it's going to take a lot. That you're going to have to you're going to have to synchronize the video with the wheels and the ride. That this isn't a small project. If you look at what Oculus Rift did with Blue Fire, it was essentially, they had sensors on each wheel that would link to the videos. That as you progress, if you went a little faster, a little slower, that on coasters, sometimes that happens depending on the weight of your train, depending on the weather. So all of that stuff is going to have to be synced up pretty well. So it should be really interesting to see what happens with that. I think it's a good idea, and it sounds to me like you think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, we are here at the end of our queue line, so I guess we will see you next time in the queues. Thanks for joining.